I've said it before. I'll say it again. I love Mormon TV. My name's Elisa. If you've never met me, my name is Elisa. And if you're an OG, you know that it has been about a year since I have sat down and filmed one of these videos. And let me tell you, the notes, shout out to Marielle for making the cover page. The notes, you guys. It's like actually just, you're gonna be here for a minute. I'm happy to be back because the show came out and because there's a lot to talk about. But if you have not subscribed to my Substack, Sunday Morning Juice, there's a little subsection called Media Me Please. I have been accepted to do press and media coverage for the Brooklyn Film Festival and the Tribeca Film Festival. Starting next week, I'm gonna be filming, doing reviews. I'm gonna be publishing what you should watch, what to look out for. There's just a lot of TV and film in my life right now, and I wanted to bring this back because I did miss doing it. I'm not wasting any more time. I'm getting right into the nitty-gritty with you all. So The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives graced the screens of Hulu May 15, 2025. Last season there were 8 episodes. This season there are 10 episodes, 10 one-hour-long episodes. There is a lot to cover. In this video, I am breaking it down by each character. This is probably gonna be long. I actually have no idea how long we're gonna be filming, but it doesn't matter. We need to get started. I haven't said this in a long time. Spoiler! Whitney, Leavitt, Whitney. We saw a much more chill side of Whitney this season, probably because she was pregnant and then postpartum for the whole season. She had a lot more going on with her life. She had a newborn. She still made her way on every single trip and made her way to every single event, so go off. But the biggest question of the season in regards to Miss Whitney is, why do you want to come back to Mom Talk? She was there season 1. She was there when they were receiving the praise. She was the villain. I will say that Bob was not. That Bob ate down every single time I saw it. I won't say that she was completely innocent this season either. Like her aunt Taylor, because you know what? I'm gonna get into that in just a second. Like her aunt Taylor, she's dramatic. She wants validation, not as much. If you do not remember, let me remind you. Season 1, she stirred up the drama. She got her same girls following behind her. Her and Demi were at odds. She did not like Taylor at all. To me, I think Whitney has a thing against Taylor, dead ass. I don't think she's ever gonna fuck with Taylor, truly. But the season ended with her leaving Mom Talk and ghosting even her closest friends. Now, this is not the first time Whitney has ghosted them in the show's existence. She actually was coming back from ghosting them at the beginning of the series, and now she's trying to come back again. Honestly, I feel like if Whitney comes back in again, which she did get back in, she is gonna go in and out as she pleases. I don't know what these girls are expecting, but I will say she does deserve to be in Mom Talk. She makes the best TikToks of all of them, in my opinion. I mean, it feels factual. From season 1 to the tail end of season 10, she was putting on her Sunday best. She was acting her best. She was showing up as one does at church on a Sunday. If Mormons even go to church on Sunday, I don't even know what day they go. Which is why we saw her being like a soft villain. Like in Scottsdale, when she wanted to get the drama off of her from her little blowout with Mikayla, which was telling. Because, you know, for me, when I'm in an argument with a friend and a friend curses at me, it just got real. You know what I'm saying? She gets upset. She's a Taurus, so. But other than that, she really did put on her Sunday best to get back in the group. She even tried to pretend rub shoulders with Taylor for a second. And for whatever reason, Taylor wants Whitney's validation bad. I think this is deeper than Whitney. It has nothing to do with her. I think it's the fact that she wants people who don't like her to like her. But we're gonna get to Taylor later. The reason I say that she like dead ass does not like Taylor, Demi dragged her down season 1 by the bob. I literally didn't think these girls would become friends again, and here we are. They are friends again. They are giggling together. They're cackling. I think there's some sort of like mutual respect there. But anyway, Whitney is never really going to be innocent in my eyes, because anytime someone gave her the opportunity to apologize, she would always say she doesn't regret anything. Like that conversation with her and Mayci, she's like,
well, regret to me means that I was intentional and then now I decided to not be intentional.
Like getting into the semantics of regret. Girl, we all know that you have a common goal. We all know you're here to be in this group that is popping right now. I mean, she's still gonna get the brand deals regardless. I don't know what she wants, because if I'm not mistaken, she has the most followers, or like right behind Taylor. And maybe that could be the thing with Taylor. I really feel like we saw a different side of her during the episode with the Great Mormon Bake Off. And this is where I felt like Whitney can actually have a genuine relationship. Well, it was with her husband, but she really does have a genuine friendship with her husband. They have so many kitchen conversations, even from season 1. They're in the kitchen, they're giggling. She invites Zach over, they're all gossiping together. Like, if she has one opportunity to be real as fuck with someone in her life, it is her husband. I just wrote a piece about pick me energy. To be fair, she's not the only one who does that. But when her husband was at that table and they were talking to Taylor through her issues, I saw a side of them together that just like showed me that she does care about things. She does care about that relationship. We do know that he was being an asshole, but she is so protective of the relationship with her husband. She does not speak badly about her husband. We do not know what he did, even though he opened up about what he did. That is admirable. The way that you carry on in a marriage, like that is something to look up towards. We don't need to know what he did. The way that they have showcased this to the world in a way that still like gives them boundaries, that's super healthy, and it does show me that she does care about something other than herself. But when it comes to the girls, that woman is never going to be sorry. I don't think that's going to change. Next, my first Pisces sister, Mikayla Matthews. I want to start off by pointing out, just like me, Mikayla kept that energy. She kept that same energy towards Whitney throughout the season. They were best friends for 2 years, and that's why she has these feelings, because she was ghosted by her best friend. I do know what that's like, and it's sad. I'm sure there's a possibility for them to rekindle the friendship in the future. I think it'll be the far future. Mikayla is another one who really seems to value her relationship with her husband and her family. Again, I know it's a reality show and I know that's what people want to see, but like maybe it's just because I'm starting to view those things very differently, and I'm starting to view secrecy differently and boundaries differently. But she's so young. She's like 24 in this season, but I think that's something she really got right from an early age. And on top of that, her man keeps his mouth shut. And that's the best kind of man, in my opinion. Shut up. I think she is good comedic relief. Like, she did have me giggling here and there. And, you know, we also saw another side of her, because she was so vulnerable about her sexual abuse that was happening in the past. She was vulnerable about how she told her mom, and her mom basically didn't believe her, and then she stopped being open, and then she started having skin issues. And there's a bridge between like the mental and the emotional and the physical, and I feel like she's so young. She's 24, but she understands that. I mean, I need to stop saying that. She's literally married and is pregnant with her third child, so she's not that damn young. Shit, she's older than me in a way. I think that she was really good at holding Whitney accountable, and I think that that was really hard for Whitney to swallow. Well, a few times throughout the season, about how Mikayla wasn't forgiving. And while Mikayla may not have forgiven her yet, I think it's because Whitney still lacked accountability. And just like a couple of other girls in the group, you need to be held accountable, which Whitney said I'm sorry in such a weird way. But you can't just apologize and expect people to forgive you in the way that you had in mind. And I like that Mikayla just doesn't let that shit slide, because it's not appropriate. Mikayla, go off. Okay, Layla. Sweet, sweet, sweet child. I think she's like, what, 22? Maybe she's probably 23 by now because she's a Pisces. She's the youngest of the group. She is super impressionable. I think she did her very, very best to try to hold her own, but I think that will come with a couple more years because I don't think she's even gotten close to mastering it this season. What I can take away from Layla is that she has feelings. She just doesn't really know how to convey her feelings yet, which is why she assisted a lot of the contention in the group on the back end. First, writing that note about Jen saying, I think Jen is the fakest. We'll get into that. And maybe you do feel that, but why do you need a secret truth box to say that? We fast forward to Scottsdale when Taylor and Demi are getting into it at the table, and she does try to stick up for Demi because they're, friends at that point. And I was like, oh my God, look at little Layla go. And then Taylor shushed her and she had nothing to say. It's like that will come with time, but she's not really putting herself in the position to communicate her feelings effectively, and so she's not. And then a few episodes later, I don't know how much time has passed in real life, but showing Taylor the group message, like, there were other ways to go about that. I'm trying to have grace with her. I really am. But she's just doing young shit to me. But the last thing about Layla that I really want to get into, she's still having these feelings about Demi. She's still fired up. She's still being a spicy little Pisces. Obviously not doing any of this to Demi. She said that she was scared of her for whatever reason. But she goes to Marciano because apparently him and Demi had a little flirtation going on. She went to get the dirt. Ends up getting the dirt about someone else. Now, she was so ready. She was so ready for Demi to be in the wrong. But when she heard some shit she didn't expect to hear, I felt like there was a reluctance in her to almost receive this information. Now, obviously, there's like a season 2, part 2 that's happening. This is gonna come out somehow. She's in the middle of it because this is where she's put herself. But to me, it just feels like she doesn't have the tools to navigate this because you brought these things up to the surface and these people are married and this guy is a groupie. Sorry. Back to what I said about assisting contention in the group on the back end. I think she'll get it one day. I'm trying to have grace with her. I really am. She's like the only one who's like kind of looks like me too, so I'm just trying my best. Ben Affleck's cousin-in-law, Jen. In my opinion, for the first 13 minutes of episode 1, I was really fucking with Jen. I was really excited to see the growth and to see her put on her big woman, her grown woman pants. But once minute 9 of the show started, I was like, oh. And her and Taylor did this very similarly at the top of the season. I thought because Jen is now 25, her frontal lobe has now developed, she was ready to stand on business with the man she's supporting, that's her husband, that is dictating her life when she's the breadwinner. It just really pained me to see Zach's happy ass stroll in on the very first scene. On her very first scene, in her very first new place, after she said that it wasn't working and she wanted to separate. And even after that conversation, she said it would be good for us to stay separated. And it didn't happen. In that conversation and in her confessionals, she was saying all the right things. But saying the right things and doing the right things aren't the same. And I really tried. Zach is just like really like, that's like tough for me. Maybe they're the same this way. He just be saying shit that sounds right and I know you don't. It's giving bullshit to me. And I should have known from the very first conversation, she was ready to fold. Because in that first episode, I believe, they did ketamine therapy together and she was just like, I just went back to think about how I prayed for you and then you showed up. Can we get out of the honeymoon phase? Because now you're married with 2 kids and we're far past that. So let's look forward and let's take those experiences, the good ones and the bad, and formulate a new path. Let's see what our future's looking like. We need to stop looking back. because you look back so hard, you got pregnant again. Did y'all clock the smirk on Zach's face when this girl said she was pregnant and she was sobbing?
Yep, I'm pregnant.
He said, oh, my master plan worked. And you know what? I'm gonna jump back a little bit before that time. She really thought that she was about to have these two worlds collide. And I love that so much for her, because that was so not the case. You were talking shit about your husband all season 1 to your friends, and at the top of season 2. You were talking shit about your friends to your husband. You put them in a room together. They start seeing that you are telling each one what they want to hear. And they start hearing the shit you talked about both of them. And her face when he said it didn't go good, and she said, did they come for you? And he said, no, they came for you. Her face. She said, you know what, I'm not what the he said, she said. Another example of her saying the right thing, the gambling situation. They brought that up to your husband with you because, yeah, we're getting to the bottom of it. Why would you open up your mouth to say that, having us all concerned? He didn't deny it. She said, no, that's not true. She didn't even acknowledge the fact that she lied, which is why I don't feel like she lied. That's weird. And you didn't like that you didn't get the validation that you wanted out of that situation. And you didn't like that it wasn't the outcome that you thought it was gonna be. And then you turned against your friends once again. This is literally a repeat, except now you've gotten pregnant. When they were having that conversation outside and she said you were acting the same way, and he was like, well, I'm allowed to act the same way. And then also saying, I've never seen someone with such narcissistic traits have so much accountability. According to her latest TikTok, it appears she's doing better mentally, and I really hope that that's the case. Moving on. Mayci, the realist, part 2, my Pisces sister, part 3. I like Mayci because, 1, I feel like she's honest. I feel like she's loyal. I feel like she's supportive. I feel like she's emotionally regulated as well, which is so important. She maintains boundaries with her friendships. She keeps that protective layer around her marriage. She loves to play mediator. She's got the ends on all the tea, but she knows how to, you know? And we also saw another side of her that was previewed season 1, but now we have heard the situation with her son's father. It's very tragic, actually. She was having a disagreement with the father of her son over text message. I don't know if like she had the dots and then it stopped, or she got sent a text message that like was not complete. She calls his dad, and it turns out he got into a car accident. I'm not sure if he got into the car accident during this text fight. That's what it feels like they're insinuating. This could totally not be the case. But because of that, she does not like to have any negative energy towards anyone. She likes to get to the bottom of things. She likes to help mediate things because she has so many regrets from what happened to her when she was only a sophomore in college. It's super unfortunate that such a devastating turn of events doesn't allow her to show anger like the rest of us. It seems like she has to let that anger go immediately, which I mean is not bad. It's good to let it go as soon as you can let it go and not hang on to it. That was an insane and super sad story. Miranda. So Miranda was the original mom talker with Taylor. Her and Taylor were best friends, and Taylor, as you know, she got on the internet and outed, you know, the whole group of swingers that she was in. Taylor's oldest time, Miranda left Mom Talk because she was trying to save her marriage. Also, her and her husband were swinging with Taylor and Taylor's husband at the time. Apparently, Miranda's ex-husband, Chase, told Taylor while they were both still married that he had feelings for her, and Taylor told everyone in the group but Miranda. It gets back to Miranda. Boom. Whole entire best friendship lost, gone, finito. I understand that this swinging ordeal is really no one's business, but since Taylor made it everybody's business, I'm gonna talk about it. According to the conclusion that they came to, that was not swinging. It was definitely not normal. They were hooking up with their own partner. They just happened to be in the same bed or a room or the shower, but I didn't think that's what swinging meant. They're not really getting into the details. It's probably because Miranda didn't want that to happen. Taylor went to the internet without her knowing about it. It's confusing. It's confusing. But if you want to bring all that to the internet and you want to bring all that on a show, like, finish it up. Miranda, you hopped on the show. You hopped in that seat. You knew they were going to ask you about it. So tell us about it so we can move on. I actually don't want this to be dragged on anymore throughout the series. And I feel like it probably will. But yeah, she's honestly observing. And to be honest, I don't even think she really fucks with the drama like that. There's not much to say. She's getting her feet wet. Jessi. Just like Layla, but the age is flipped. I love a woman who is in her motherfucking bag. But I do not love the need for outside validation. Her and Demi, best friends. To me, it feels like she thrives when she's in a friendship, a best friendship, and low-key the sidekick, because she was. But it came out very early that Demi tried to get Jessi kicked off the show for more money. Now, when this initially came up, they kind of were just like laughing it off and moved on. So I didn't know if it was that serious. They weren't acting like it was that serious until it kept getting brought up again and again and again. But it didn't seem like anything that bothered Jessi initially. To be honest with you, I don't think Jessi was upset with Demi until it was brought up again at the dinner at Scottsdale, and Taylor said,
If our roles were reversed, would you do that to me?
and Demi said no. Demi was obviously trying to save her own ass. Jessi, she held those words in closely. She said, oh, you think I'm expendable and you care more about Taylor? Girl, no. You need to pick up on nonverbal cues, because she doesn't feel that way. If she did it to her best friend and you're her best friend in the group, she will do it to anyone in the group. What? Like, I can understand taking that personally, because I would too, but I would, girl, it's the fact that that's what made you upset. Also, it's the fact that Jessi was not a good friend multiple times in the season, and I have examples. And let's start with the Halloween party, because that's when I knew Jessi's ass was really messy. First of all, you invite your friend Kate, who is dating Chase, and you know she's gonna bring Chase, and you know Chase is Miranda's ex-husband who fell in love with Taylor, also hooked up with Layla, and you know that Chase has been going in about Taylor on the internet for years because he's butthurt that she didn't have feelings back for him. Also, the Chippendale situation, you knew that was a big situation, and you allowed your husband to be a Chippendale dancer on Jen in front of her husband, Zach. And I thought this was pretty innocent, but my friend pointed out to me that this is actually not innocent at all. You knew that Jen and Zach were coming to your Halloween party as J-Lo and Ben Affleck, and you decided to be J-Lo and your husband Ben Affleck, but better. Like, to me, I was like, oh my God, it's friendly competition. My friend, Marielle, you've seen her. She said, if my friend did that to me, you actually just told me that you hate me. And bitch, it's true. And then even with the Demi situation, it feels like she didn't get upset with Demi until she was validated or had approval to be upset with Demi. Once other people started voicing their frustrations, suddenly she was frustrated about something she knew about since it seems like the conception of the issue. Oh, and not to mention, she invited Dakota to the Halloween party. I don't think it's so bad, because I'm pretty sure Taylor wanted him to be there anyway, but you knew that they weren't in a good place and you still invited that man to the Halloween party. And then you were like, this is too much drama for me. Girl. And then the icing on the cake, when Layla decided to go to Marciano to get dirt on Demi and ended up getting more dirt on you. While this is alleged, this is a rumor. Oh my God. Two more, I think. Demi. Last season, Demi was a fan favorite, and allegedly, that is why she's getting money and power hungry this season. She's a Leo. She loves the spotlight anyway. But I really want to take it back to the situation with Jessi and Demi being best friends, and Demi trying to get Jessi kicked off the show for more money. Obviously, that's fake as hell, and I'm not denying that. I'm trying to gain perspective about how this situation was handled, more so because Jessi didn't care about it until she cared about it. You know, that's why this is hard for me. I don't want to invalidate anyone's feelings. I'm not saying that it's not fucked up, because it is fucked up. You should not try to kick anyone off of a show that you didn't even create, out of a group that you didn't even create. Yeah, that's wrong. And also with Mayci and the opportunity with the celebrity pickleball, it was giving jealousy. Her and Whitney got close again. I just feel like it's because they do have a mutual respect for each other. I do think they have a mutual hate for Taylor as well. Now, Taylor brought up an interesting fact whenever they were in New Orleans, and it was that Demi gets on Jen for Jen's husband controlling her. But when Demi said something about going skinny dipping, and I guess she texted her husband, and then he called her and was like, "You're not going skinny dipping on national TV." Taylor had words, she had feelings. This is a situation that's kind of like to each his own, because if I told my husband I was going skinny dipping on national TV and he didn't even give me a little pushback, I would be like, "Oh, are you a pimp? You don't care?" But also, it's like, I've never been a wife before, but I assume that you have to act differently than when you're just like a girlfriend or like not dating anyone, I assume. I don't really think about being a wife. I just think about having a wedding, which is telling. Throughout this season, a lot of people on the cast didn't like the fact that she was not giving Jen grace anymore. I understand Jen was having those mental health issues that no one actually knew about. All she knew was that Jen wasn't being honest. Jen ran away when things got too tough. And Jen didn't want to accept accountability, which Jen did not want to accept accountability. Taking space and taking a step back, I'm not saying that she wasn't feeling anything that she was feeling, but also she is still avoiding that accountability, avoiding those situations. Maybe she will get to it later, and that's fine. Demi wasn't doing anything differently with Jen than Mikayla was with Whitney. That's just my opinion. And I guess maybe I especially relate because I have had friends before who, when there's conflict, they're quick to shed a tear. They're quick to take a step back and not face accountability. And maybe that's why I feel that way too. I think Taylor and Demi butt heads a lot again because like Taylor started Mom Talk, does get a lot of attention. Demi was a fan favorite. She does get a lot of attention. I think they're both impulsive. I think Taylor's much more impulsive. And again, I understand Demi holding Taylor accountable because why are you yet again taking to the internet when you're upset about something? When we all texted you personally, but we didn't comment on your Instagram post. And now you're dragging us on TikTok? You're 30 fucking years old, dead ass. You literally just did this to a different group of friends. And now a few years later, you're doing it again. You're not learning from your mistakes. You need to be held accountable. Like, I mean, I get it. I think her and Taylor probably just needed to have a conversation on their own, but then it didn't happen. And then things kept festering, you know, and then everyone else was in it. And while everyone else forgave Taylor, they did not hold Taylor accountable. They were just like, oh, Taylor being Taylor.
The fuck?
My God. Taylor. Now, I'm gonna give Taylor as much grace as I can because I genuinely don't think Taylor is innocent. But I will say, there were some scenes within the show that made me feel for her a little bit more. So let's jump back to season 1. She said if she found out that anything more happened with Dakota, she's gone immediately, pronto, out of there. She found out more happened and she was not gone immediately, pronto, out of there. Like Jen, she says what sounds right. Saying what sounds right and doing what you said you were gonna do are not the same. Stop saying that shit if you don't mean that shit. I believe it was episode 1. She went to Mayci's house, the mediator, to meet Jenna, the girl her baby father had a situation with while they were having a situation at the top of their situation. Mind you, her baby's father did not tell her that he'd been lying to her for 2 years until 2 weeks after she gave birth to that baby. So let that sink in. That is something I can have grace about, even though I feel like she knew he was lying, but whatever. She went to Macy's to meet Jenna. This is literally how she was introduced to the show. And she learned on Mayci's couch that when Dakota came out with the truth, he again came out with a partial truth, because he showed her text messages after he'd deleted some of the messages to make Jenna look like she was thirsting over him. Jenna shows Taylor the full thread. Taylor loses it. Definitely understand why you're mad at him, 1000%. But this is another thing with the secrecy. You talk too damn much. You need to. Why are you at the dinner table with your family? Mom, dad, brother, sister, their partners, your ex-partner, and your baby, and you're saying things like, you fucked me last night, and then you're with her all day, and then you fuck me that night. Like, what? That is a crazy thing to say in front of your parents. It's actually so insane to have that sort of fight in front of your parents. And then it's even more insane for your dad to be like, you barely knew him, and you open your legs to him, and that's what you get. Now, I don't know what that feels like to have your legit parents say that to you. That's actually insane. But I also know that I will never be in that situation, because I'm never gonna, this isn't about me. But throughout that conversation at the dinner table, she talked about how she hated herself. She called herself trash. She's just not right within herself. So being in a relationship is not going to be right ever. And you have 3 babies now, and you're a single mother. And yes, you do well for yourself, but also you cannot get right within yourself when after you have this whole conversation, you bring the whole family in it. All of them know that this man did you dirty, and then are still telling you to give him grace. Everyone but your sister. That's why I do have grace for her, because she doesn't even have a good support system with her. And I think she was looking for that through her friends, but when they didn't comment on that Instagram post, which happened around Thanksgiving, they said she got upset with them. You know, maybe you feel a way about those things. I might even feel a way about those things, but I'm not gonna take to TikTok when I have a platform full of millions of followers to out them for being bad friends when they literally texted me, congratulating me, wishing me good luck. They just didn't show up the exact way that you expected them to show up. You took to the internet. People are bullying them, calling them bad friends. Demi feeds into it. And then apparently she's taken it too far, because now you're getting bullied even though you sent all these other people to bully them. Like, and then when everyone else is like, it's fine, and she doesn't say that, just like the Whitney situation with Mikayla, you have an issue because she didn't forgive you in the way that you thought. But it's like, no, I'm not about to just be like, oh, that's Taylor. Stop doing that shit. Literally, you've already done it, and you saw it happen, and you have shame around it, and you're doing it again. Obviously, a lesser scale, but still. I really hope she gets the help she needs. I really hope she gets to the bottom of childhood shit in her work, because she understands that she does need to fix this. However she gets it done, she does get it done. For her sake, for her children's sake. And I really hope she's done with Dakota, because how are you gonna admit to me that you lied and then still be admitting the truth? Season 2 was a shit show in 2 halves. It was 2 shit shows, but I loved every moment of it. It appears that there's gonna be a part 2. What even is that about? I'm not sure. I'm here for it. I think the way that season 2 was given to us was a treat with a meal. You know, it was a 3-course meal. You know, we had the episode about gratitude. We had the episode about arguments. Like, everything fell into line so perfectly. They slayed post-production. Also, what's happening with Poppy? I saw Mayci wearing the sweatpants. They all had Poppy all the time. That was the only soda that wasn't blurred out. Is this a brand deal? Shit, maybe. Phenomenal storytelling. It was crazy. It was honestly a little bit draining to watch. Like, I could only watch a couple of episodes per day. It was a 9 out of 10. If you would have even given us a little bit more after that cliffhanger, 9.3, I think it was phenomenal. I think if you've been wanting to watch Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, I just told you everything, but still, tap in. I'm not like sponsored by Hulu or anything, but I wish I was. Thank you so much for watching. I dropped a podcast on my Substack, and I dropped a new article on my Substack, which, oh, they're both out by now, actually. Tap into that. subscribe to me on Substack, subscribe to me here. And if you can't get over on Substack for whatever reason, the podcast will be here on this page. Lots more TV and film and vlogs with that going on, with the film festivals going on. And wow, it's good to be back.